Hey everyone, and welcome back to CodeMechanic. Today, we're diving deep into a very common but often misunderstood fault code. C0035. If you've ever seen this code pop up on your scanner, you know it points to a problem with the left front wheel speed sensor circuit. But what does that actually mean? And more importantly, how do you fix it? Stick around, because we're about to break it all down. So, what is a wheel speed sensor? Think of it as your car's speedometer for each individual wheel. These sensors are a critical part of your anti-lock braking system, or ABS, and your traction control system. They constantly measure how fast each wheel is spinning and send that information to the ABS control module. This data is vital. When you slam on the brakes, the ABS module uses this info to prevent your wheels from locking up, allowing you to maintain steering control. It also helps your traction control system stop the wheels from spinning out when you accelerate on a slippery surface. Now, let's talk about the code itself. C0035. The C tells us it's a chassis code, which is where you'll find codes related to brakes, steering, and suspension. The rest of the code, C0035, specifically pinpoints an issue within the circuit of the left front wheel speed sensor. Notice it says circuit. This is a key detail. It doesn't automatically mean the sensor itself is bad. The problem could be the sensor, sure, but it could also be the wiring, the connector, the ABS control module, or even something physical interfering with the sensor's reading. So, what are the common symptoms you might experience when C0035 is triggered? The most obvious sign will be the ABS and traction control warning lights illuminating on your dashboard. You might also notice that your ABS doesn't activate during hard braking, which is a significant safety concern. In some vehicles, you might even find that your cruise control stops working, as it relies on wheel speed data to maintain a consistent speed. The car is essentially telling you, hey, I can't accurately see how fast one of my wheels is turning, so I'm disabling these safety systems until you fix it. Alright, let's get our hands dirty and talk about diagnosis. Before you rush out and buy a new sensor, we need to do some detective work. First, a visual inspection. Get your car safely lifted and secured, and take a close look at the left front wheel area. The sensor is usually mounted on the steering knuckle, and it reads a toothed ring, sometimes called a tone ring or a lacta ring, on the axle or wheel hub. Look for any obvious damage. Is the wiring harness frayed, melted, or chewed through by a rodent? Is the connector loose, corroded, or full of dirt and water? Check the tone ring itself. Is it cracked? Are teeth missing? Or is it caked with rust and debris? Sometimes, just cleaning off a buildup of brake dust and grime can solve the problem. If the visual inspection doesn't reveal anything, it's time to break out the multimeter. We need to test the circuit. ULL want to unplug the sensor and check for proper voltage and ground at the connector, coming from the car's wiring harness. A wiring diagram for your specific vehicle is your best friend here. You can typically find these online or in a repair manual. If you have the correct power and ground, the next step is to test the sensor itself. Many modern wheel speed sensors are magnetic, generating their own signal. You can often test these by checking for resistance or by spinning the wheel by hand and looking for an AC voltage signal on your motor. If the sensor fails these tests, you've found your culprit. If the wiring checks out and the sensor seems okay, the problem might be more complex. It could be an intermittent connection that only fails when you're driving, or in rare cases, it could be a fault within the ABS control module itself. At these days, a more advanced scan tool that can display live data from each wheel speed sensor can be incredibly helpful. You can watch the data in real time as you drive to see if the left front sensor signal drops out or becomes erratic. Let's say you've confirmed the sensor is faulty. Replacing it is usually straightforward. It's typically held in by 1 or 2 bolts. Just unbolt the old sensor, disconnect it, and install the new one. Make sure the mounting surface is clean before you put the new sensor in. Once it's replaced, clear the fault codes with your scanner and take the car for a test drive. The warning lights should stay off, and your ABS and traction control should be back to normal. And that's a wrap on diagnosing and fixing trouble code C0035. Remember, taking a systematic approach and not just throwing parts at the problem will save you time, money, and a lot of frustration. Start with the basics, a good visual inspection before moving on to more complex electrical testing. If you found this video helpful, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Have you ever dealt with this code before? Let me know your experience in the comments below. Thanks for watching Code Mechanic, and I'll see you on the next one.